And I would say Deebo looked pretty normal for a guy that at one point on Friday, he's like, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Basically be a game time decision. Like, he didn't even look close to a game time decision to me, right?
He looked
It kind of thought that they mess with those two guys specifically, which were either one of those guys ever in doubt of missing this game? Specifically Deebo. I mean, Deebo had been an all-week thing.
Back spasms unpredictable, but Deebo was – this is what – like when you pay Deebo Samuel and say he's essential afterwards, it's for games like this. But it wasn't even about running the football today. It was just absolute – here's 7 yards, he's going to make it 8. Here's a loss of 15, he's going to make it a loss of 4.
Well, how about that play? He juked out 4 guys. He went underneath them. That's – who it was Moose was like, that's pretty nuts. I mean, he went underneath them. They had him corralled. 4 guys, not 2, 4. 2 guys outside, 2 guys straight up. And he got away from all 4 of them. He kind of went between the middle 2, underneath. It was remarkable. That's one of the crazier things I've ever seen Deebo Samuel do.
If you box score scouted the game, you'd go, all right, Deebo, let's see here. 4 carries, 5 yards. 5 catches, 46 yards. Man, I guess Deebo didn't show up today.
I got him 6 for 58.
You got him 6 for 58? All right, we got – what did I say?
You said 5 for something.
Okay. I got him 4 – you got him 4 carries, 5 yards?
4 carries, 5 yards,
yeah. Oh, if I said 5 for 46, that was how you – still, you'd go, all right, I guess that was fine. It was incredible.
He had another play. Was it a quick screen or was it an end around where he like cut it back inside and then he realized he'd go outside and Trent kind of corralled the outside. It was like this guy and like Tyreek, but Deebo's bigger. Everything is violent and everything is moving forward. There can't be another one. He probably is the most violent wide receiver, isn't he? It's weird. Like, is he a true wide receiver? You know, he's really a hybrid.
Whatever he is, he's the most violent of them.
Yeah, he's
like when you watch Curtis Samuel, who Washington tries to use a little bit similarly, right? You just see there's a little bit of a difference when you're not as much of a wrecking ball. But Deebo's also elusive as a wrecking ball. And I think part of the reason you tell him, part of it has to be that when you go to tackle him, like you have to put 100% of your effort into tackling him. So he can make you move because you have to be 100% committed to the tackle you're about to try to make because he's so hard to tackle. And maybe that's why he can be a little elusive. I don't know. It was it was a war daddy performance from Deebo Samuel today.
He was fucking awesome. He's
the box score. We're not trading you to the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, this is the 49ers have needed him this year. I mean, he has been very, very important. And his stats, whenever I see like Grant tweeting about Deebo's stats, like his stats don't do what he brings to the table justice. I even heard McDaniel talk about, maybe it was Kyle. I mean, they both talked about it was McDaniel last week talking about Bosa and just how you spend so much energy as a game planner getting ready for Bosa as a play caller. And, you know, I think Deebo's the same thing. Like, you just spend so much energy, and Tyreek is this way. You're just always accounting. What's he doing? What's going to happen? How are they going to get him the ball? This goes back to Trent saying, well, yeah, let's just say I'm tipping pitches, right? So you know it's a run or a pass. We have so many different variations of so many things. You do not know what's coming. We have counters. I mean, we run Deebo 8 different ways just as a runner. And then as a passer, you would say his route tree would be smaller than some wide receivers because he's not really going down the field. But for a guy that is not a great route runner and doesn't really have he's not a very good red zone wide receiver, you would say that's not really Deebo's forte. He's still a blue chip Pro Bowl level impact guy. To have some like negatives to you and still be that good shows you how elite his talent is.
He was strong a couple times today, even when he's well covered over the middle. I thought he was strong at the point of the catch, either preventing a DB from getting his hands on the ball or making the play. You know, like
the catch between the two guys was pretty fantastic. And then what did he do? Right upfield for an extra couple more yards when they kind of collide into each other and him.
Yeah,
his power and body control on contact is like the upper echelon of the elite players. I mean, Tyreek is too. And both of them, you would say, have, I mean, let's face it, really built more like running backs than they are wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
Now, Tyreek has an element of just, I mean, he's got ultra turbo boosters. You know, I wouldn't say Deebo plays very fast with the ball in his hands, but he doesn't, like, without the ball. Tyreek can just get open so fast. That is one thing that, like, Deebo doesn't, you know, and then go like that. Like, Deebo's covered a lot when he makes plays, right?
Yeah. You know where you notice it with Deebo? And I thought McCaffrey, again, we talked about it in the passing game. McCaffrey broke a run at the end of the game that was, I never say this, but I think 3 of the people in our chat, we could pick any 3 and they could all get positive yards on that play. That's one of the biggest holes you'll ever see in the NFL.
Well, would you see it though? You know, you got to see.
I think it was so massive. But you know where you see is like McCaffrey makes a ton of plays Deebo-esque. McCaffrey does not make the pile move anywhere near as much as Deebo does on those receptions. But McCaffrey, 8 catches, 80 yards, a touchdown. Like, it felt like McCaffrey, there was such a difference between right now, McCaffrey 2.7 yards per carry or whatever his number is, and then when he catches the football, how disruptive he is.
Do you think if they knew Purdy would have to come in, they would still do the McCaffrey trade? Makes it even more valuable, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He had 8 fucking catches today. How many targets did he have?
10.
He had 10. He touched the ball 27 times.
Don't you think it, like, Purdy makes almost Christian more valuable?
Yes, because now Christian and Deebo they already were, but now they're even more valuable to the Niners offense.
It's just they clearly can't afford another running back injury, right? You see how thin they are at running back today, as opposed to a few weeks ago. Was Mitchell back? Was Mitchell back the first Jeff Wilson game? Was Jeff Wilson? Did they mix one game? I think so.
With all 3 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that first game, you're like, oh, so many running backs. And now it's like, you know, the way Buck Mason's running, I think he should get the 17 carries and McCaffrey should get the 8.
I agree.
McCaffrey still gets the 8 catches or the 10 targets, whatever. But McCaffrey is so much more important. And every game, this is the other thing. You notice this, like, it's like it'll be 8 minutes left in the first quarter. They'll got a shot of McCaffrey and he'll just be bleeding from the arm. It feels like every week.
Well, today his hip pad, like, he looked like a high school player sticking out because he'd been tackled so many times. His jersey's up here. Like, this guy, like, you're right. He does not move the pile like Deebo or Kittle. He's not that powerful, but he's very willing, right? He lowers his shoulder on contact. He's not. It's one thing I didn't quite know. I mean, I haven't been locked into Panther football. He ain't afraid of the pop, right? He's just not as powerful as those guys.
That's why he fits in. I thought, you know, the Niners are kind of kings of a few things. One of them is you look at the box score and players were more impactful than the box score. I feel like I saw a lot more Kittle today than 2 for 22, right? He had a critical catch late.
Made some fantastic blocks.
He was blocking his ass off. Juszczyk, his touchdown was big. Juice was 3 catches for 12 yards and his touchdown. Croft, 1 big catch. Jennings, 2 for 34. If I asked you without looking at the box score, what was Jennings today? I would have said 5 for 62.
Yeah, I would have gone 558.
2 for 34. Like, these guys, they make it count, man. Like, they all make it count. They're the Niners skill guys. They make it count.
Yeah. Today it felt like there were some. I wonder if Tyreek Mullen, Christian Wilkins look like, is this a high school game for this guy? Like, what is he just making every play? He's like crushing people down the field. Remember when he tackled, was it Jennings down the field? It's like, did he just kill
Joe
him?
Davis was like, how did he end up coming downfield to make that tackle?
So I wonder, like, Wilkins, who's a blue chip former first rounder, Tyreek, everyone kind of like, and there was a lot of buzz in this game, right, with Raheem and Jeff Wilson and the McDaniel connection. But it felt like once a couple of their sweet players were kind of into the game, like everyone, like Dre Greenlaw's like, I'm going to be just like Fred today.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You guys will not notice the difference. That one play that he made in space, kind of breaking down on Tyreek, was really good. It was like, God, is Tyreek going to do a little Allen Iverson? And Dre kind of stopped with him, and then he corralled him. I was like, and then he did the fake, I'm going to suplex you. Just kidding. I just let him go.
You guys still think I'm going to get a personal foul penalty, but I'm not.
Did you think suplex for a split second? Like
Yes,
he's
I
really
thought
gonna
here comes
slam
a personal foul.
He's gonna fucking toss this guy out of bounds. He's like, oh no, I'm good.
I also think he picked him up and realized this guy's probably a little heavier than I thought. That
Yeah.
might have been part of it.
God damn, Tyreek, you're been lifting.
Gesicki had 0 catches, 1 target. Waddle had the 1 catch. I mean, it was Tyreek had 9. Alec Ingold had 3. Like Mostert, the Dolphins ran the ball 8 times. 7 for Mostert, 1 for Jeff Wilson.
I did feel though when I would not run it. I would keep passing it.
Yeah.
That was my thought when I was watching them play. Like I wanted them to run it for the night. If you're like want the Niners to win, I was like, I hope they ran it. Even though a couple times, especially later in the game, they hit a couple runs for like 7-8 yards pretty easily.
Yeah.
I wonder if he probably because I think the Niners were so worried about the passing game that there might have been some just because I think their linebackers naturally like dropping back, kind of looking around, trying to help out. That I wonder if there were some more runs there. I wonder if Mike got a little run happy. It does not feel. You're right. I mean, the 30-yard ball at the end because it's like the Niners ran for 100 yards. I know they ran for 120, but it's that 30-yard run. Probably. I mean, they were not going to run for 100 yards.
What was the total at the end?
121. When did that 30-yard run happen? Like 3 or 4 minutes left.
Yeah. At the end.
So they were not going to hit the 100-yard mark. I'm with you though. I would give Mason had like a Dolphins level explosion. I was like, God, Mason looks fast, fresh legs. He looks quick. He's decisive. I think sometimes coaches, like look at McDaniel, right? Even the random guys, he's very comfortable with. Craycraft, which is clearly his favorite player, right? He's been loving that guy for years. I always thought it was Kyle. It was fucking McDaniel. Sure feel like he's comfortable with their randoms to go along with their star players. Sometimes when you have an undrafted free agent rookie who hasn't played that much, but he's showing signs of life, I think coaches, not clearly they like him, and Kyle is supporting him and plays him, but it's like, am I going to let one of their linebackers knock the ball out in a 23-17 game that, at the 40-yard line that leads to we got to ease our way into it, which I would say, like, I would kind of ride him until he proves otherwise, like, but I bet in the back of his mind, like, am I going to let this guy fumble on me? Because it made no sense. Like, because I was thinking today, you and me, for example, and everyone listening to this, watching the game, like, do we have a better view of just kind of the ebb and flow of like how quick some of the players look than maybe even Kyle on the sideline, just kind of doing a play and then yardage? Like, is he really seeing like how fast Mason is moving? I bet he might realize it tomorrow. Like, God damn, this guy should have run a little. But I do wonder in the game, never been an NFL coach on a sideline, if you truly can like pick up on like how much faster he looked just running the ball than McCaffrey. Because back to what you said, like he probably deserved 15 carries a day.
Yeah.
It was clear early, like I would keep giving the little guy the ball.
It might have also been, right, another factor could be your confidence in pressure pickup and catching the football, right? Because there was a lot of pressure on your quarterback. You could not afford another injury because Kyle Juszczyk then becomes your quarterback, which I'd like to see in a weird way. If you promised me they'd win, I'd be like, let's watch Juszczyk. Like,
but that the season be over. Does that happen?
So